funeral of anti-apartheid activist and education expert Graeme Bloch is being held today. He died last week after succumbing to an uncommon brain disorder. Well, Ayesha Ismail joining us live now from St. George's Cathedral, where the funeral is happening. Let's find out what's happening there. Ayesha, good morning. And who have you seen? Who is attending the funeral of this great person?
Good morning. Yes, we can see lots of comrades and former members of the United Democratic Front. Graeme Bloch was very well known, very well liked. He was instrumental in setting up the UDF. He was also banned at one stage, also detained at one stage. And of course, Graeme will always be remembered as somebody who fought for a free and democratic society, a non-racial South Africa. But I'm now joined by the former Minister of Finance, Trevor Manuel, who knew Graeme Bloch very well. They were together back in the trenches. Trevor, your memories of Graeme Bloch?
Well, my memories of Graeme Bloch go back to the very early 80s, before the launch of the UDF, because the UDF was launched by people who interacted politically and understood what needed to be done. And effectively, from the moment Graeme's banning order was lifted in 1981, we reconnected because we'd actually met in the 70s already. So it's a long-standing relationship. It's one that has seen us together, and I think the high point was certainly in the mid-80s. I think the need to ensure that we could broaden the base of the struggle was fundamentally important for all of us. So we became very close personal friends, very close family friends, and Cheryl and Graeme celebrated their 31st wedding anniversary last month. But I'm one of the people who could say that I knew both of them before they even got together. So it's a long-standing relationship of somebody with somebody who was solid, quite heroic, exceedingly humble, yet all of that masked the sharpness of what he was. While he was banned, he completed his first master's in economic history. Later in the early 90s, he did a second master's at Pittsburgh University in the US. So he was well accomplished. But, since he was diagnosed with this terrible neurodegenerative disease 7 years ago, it's been exceedingly hard. But even in that, his bravery, his commitment, and for as long as his body would hold up and he could articulate, he would do so. But through all of that as well, one of the issues that I think would make for a durable memory for everybody was the love between him and Cheryl, the radiance, the happiness that they enjoyed, and the way in which they were able to do things together, notwithstanding the severity of his illness.
And you talk about Cheryl Carolus. Now, she was once the Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress, and quite feisty as well.
Cheryl has always been very feisty. Right from her school days in the 70s, when she was detained in 1976 for the first time as well. And through it, Secretary of the UDF, the support base she was able to build into the ANC, the affection with the leadership of the ANC right from the moment of the unbanning and the election as Deputy Secretary General in 1991. So it's a very long-standing commitment of Cheryl's. And so what is abundantly clear about Cheryl and Graeme is that they were independently active. They didn't need to hang on to the coattails of each other. And I think that they both enjoyed recognition in own name and right. And so that's the person we're laying to rest today.
So you talk about Graeme and you remember him being humble. And if one looks at the mourners here today, there are high-ranking ANC officials, you are here. But if you also look at, they are just ordinary comrades from Bonteheuwel, Mitchell's Plain and Wynberg. And that is an indication of how humble he was and how he was able to just communicate with ordinary people.
That was an amazing strength. I mean, His work in the 80s with young students. I mean, the people we see now, I laugh because they're still referred to as the young lions, but they're in their 50s. But they were the student leadership of the 1980s, and they all reflect incredibly warmly about the political education they had from Graeme, amongst other people, and the way in which that relationship was built. So their respect for him is a durable respect. It wasn't built around a moment. It was about their empowerment, and I think many of them would credit Graeme with having unlocked the opportunities in their own minds. And so those young people from the townships you mentioned, Bonteheuwel, Manenberg, Gugulethu. And so some of the people I've seen around include the leadership that we found in the band ANC, Mildred Lesia, Buyawa Tinto, and others who have been such an important part of the fabric of resistance politics, especially in the Western Cape.
Thank you so much for your time. And Yuveka, that was the former Minister of Finance, Trevor Manuel, talking ahead of the funeral service for Graeme Bloch. And of course, as you heard, this was a man who really fought and wanted a better life for all South Africans.
And a wonderful tribute to him there from Trevor Manuel as well. Thanks very much, Ayesha Ismail.